It's all about Culture Kitchen. Fired up, you guys. I'm so gassed because we have the one and only Keith Malenga. He's a slam poet, storyteller. By the way, what's this slam poet story, man? Is it like, I don't understand it, man. Is it like, do you talk about certain things only? How did you even come up with that thing for slam poet?
So a slam poet, it's not my idea. It's a generation of poets.
Oh, interesting.
So poetry as an art form is a very ancient form of storytelling, in that it predates writing. So before there was the written word or print media, poetry existed.
Yeah.
But it was more told through oral tradition. So communities in the past used to tell people their stories, and then they would pass on to the newer generation. So in West Africa, we have these ordained people that are called the griots. So the griots are these people, they're like the human libraries. So they would be told stories about communities in West Africa, and then they would pass the stories.
Right.
So the concept of slam itself, like I said, it's a generation of poets.
Right.
And poetry has evolved over the centuries. So slam poets came by from the 1980s. Onwards up to still where we are, and poetry is always evolving. It doesn't stay in one place.
Do you know what I thought slam poet was?
What
you can imagine.
What did you think slam poetry was?
I thought it was from the block, the hood. I was like, what, slam poet? But
Yes.
thanks for educating me.
But though it's very synonymous with hip hop as well.
Of course, yeah,
as the
yeah.
movement, because hip hop is very much from the hood.
Right.
It's expression, and so we're more about performance. That's why we even call it spoken word.
Right.
So spoken word is also in the category of slam poetry. Yeah.
Dude, and you sound so good, man. Like, you really speak well.
Like I told you.
I like your accent,
Like
man.
I told you, I feel at home because I always wanted to be a journalist. Like,
For real?
just being here is
Oh,
so
my
surreal.
God. Yeah.
I just can't wait to tell stories more about my
Dude,
whole.
you should definitely have a show or
yes.
something, because you sound really
my
good.
journey. Yes,
But I hope you're good, man.
I'm well.
How was your day?
about you?
How's your week? How are you feeling?
Just chilling. Just nothing much. Typical Gen Z, typical 26-year-old Kenyan.
Yeah.
For the most part, unemployed, but I have work that I do. So besides poetry, I work as an occupational therapist.
Right.
So occupational therapy is this medical field, and we do rehabilitative work. So we work mostly with children who have special needs. So currently I'm working at Umoja Primary, Umoja 1 Primary School.
Yes.
So they just opened a new therapy center. And, we're helping people who have children with special needs to help those children achieve the milestones that they need to.
That's amazing.
So that generally that is what occupational therapy is all about. But my day was good.
Yeah.
I went for work today.
Yeah, amazing.
I was worried that I was going to be stuck in traffic before getting here, but I took an Uber, and I at least I made it in time.
I like that. Every other time I invite people here to this show, they always have some sense of worry. Yeah, the whole traffic situation can be a menace sometimes,
Yes.
Yeah, but I'm glad that you're
expressway
here.
did the thing.
Exactly, dude.
Yeah, that expressway is a saver, man.
Exactly,
it's a
man.
lifesaver.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So obviously we're going to be talking about a lot. Yeah. But I'm curious. Talk to me about your background. Yeah.
Yes. So my background is quite interesting. Actually.
Yeah. Like, where were you raised? And that
Yes,
kind of thing.
definitely.
Yeah.
My background very much started in my up country. So I was raised in a very traditional type of way. Sometimes I even question my Gen Z
Right.
type, because I'm not I wasn't raised in town. So I was raised in my maternal home, which is in Machakos, in my grandparents' house. So my mom never married, or rather never got married. So she got me while she was still staying at her parents' house. And it was a big household. We had cousins coming. It was always people in the house.
Yeah.
But then my grandfather, interesting character, I have to tell you, because he was at some point, he was a legislator and he was also in the cabinet of the late Daniel Arap Moi.
Right.
So he's a role model.
Yeah.
I would say he's a role model.
So you're old money.
No.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, yes and no.
It's okay. Me, when I hear stories of at my granddad was a cabinet minister, and I'm just like, okay. Especially Moi era. I get it. Yeah.
I'm just telling my story.
It's all good. I'm not judging too much.
So like I said, my grandfather, he's a very key character in my background, and then he was kind of this strict father figure. So he was my father figure since my dad was not around, and he was a policeman as well. Before he joined to work for the government, he worked as a policeman. So he was quite strict, in bringing us up.
Yeah.
And then I think even with art, as a young guy growing up, I think my art career and my art and my self-expression started from when I was a kid, man. And I have to give a huge credit to my family, especially from my maternal side, my mother's side, because I remember during Christmas they would let me do these skits. It was mostly comedy skits.
Right.
I would do some funny stuff, and they would laugh. It would make me feel so good.
Yeah.
And then in school also I would do some poems. I would do solo poems. I would also do like choral verses. And then I think in primary school, so I went to this school in Karatina called Brookfield Academy, and that school was very pivotal in my expression, because we had this teacher called Wanto Aroy.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mr. Wanto Aroy.
Was this IGCC?
No.
Okay.
It was a private school, normal system.
All right.
So Wanto Aroy was my Kiswahili teacher, and we used to have the debate. We used to have this debate club, and so just being on the debate club really kind of gave me a little bit of confidence. I was a shy kid though.
Right.
I was quite small actually. I was quite a small kid. I wasn't very confident, but having that platform at that early age at least gave me at least a little bit of boost. And then I went to this public school called Ofafa Jericho.
Oh, I know Ofafa, bro.
Ofafa Jericho is...
My little nephew was there.
Ofafa Jericho, its reputation precedes itself.
That's in Islands, isn't it?
Islands, yes, in Jericho.
Yeah.
So it was a tough school, man. It was a tough school, but so in the context of art, I used to be in a drama club. Rather.
Yeah, because I know they're big in art, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, and rugby as well.
Oh yeah, okay.
So they're big in rugby and drama and music.
Yeah.
So I used to be in drama festivals, and then there was this particular drama teacher called Ken. Today, I just want to mention my teachers, because those people really gave me my foundation, and it's always good to, acknowledge your teachers when you can. So Ken was my drama teacher, and every time we would practice doing drama, he would tell the others, do it like this kid.
Yeah.
I want you to do it like him.
Wow. You must have been so good, huh?
I guess so. So Ken really gave me that confidence when it comes to like acting, because my poetry, as much as it is for the page, it's also for the stage.
Right.
So I'm a page poet. I'm also a stage poet.
Right.
And the whole aspect of slam rather is more about performance. And so after Ofafa Jericho, I transferred to another school called Ongata Senior School. It's in Rongai. So this one was a private school. And that's where I discovered my journalism, my sort of journalism, my love for journalism. I was the head of the journalism club.
Nice.
Together with my friend. I have to shout out. If I don't shout out him, he might call me out after the interview. So Josephat Njogu, he was my co-partner, and there was this instance in school where we told some very controversial news to a point where we were kicked off the parade, and we had to wash the whole school. So we were very influential, and that also kind of gave me a platform in knowing how to challenge rather the status quo, and always how to question systems in place, not just to conform.
Yeah.
So basically that's my background.
That's amazing. That's amazing, dude. Yes. Like, I am fascinated by how you speak, dude. I love it. Kwanzaa, I'm gonna have to talk to some folks over here. I generally feel like you have to get into journalism, but I like that. So at what point did you figure that you should probably pursue this whole poetry and spoken word thing?
Like I said,
because I've seen you in multiple stages. I
have been. Like I said, it started when I was young. When I was young, I knew I wanted to be an artist. I just didn't know it was going to be poetry. I just didn't know the avenue that I would find myself in was poetry. But I had an idea. I knew I had this expression thing going on, and I knew that I needed to nurture it. But then, so I recall when I was in high school, I used to do more of music writing. I would write rap music, and so it was more music. Music came before the poetry.
Right.
And the rap thing, it's still serious. I still sometimes think about it. I still sometimes think maybe I should go to this.
What kind of rap? Is it like conscious rap, or is it just any kind of rap? You can basically
it's rap music.
You can drop bars. That's it.
I can drop bars.
Okay.
Drop bars.
I know you're gonna have to drop for us some bars.
I'm gonna drop some poetry bars, not rap bars. I'm not confident with the rap.
It's okay, bro. No pressure.
Yes.
No pressure. So
poetry did not come until COVID-19.
Right.
During the pandemic. So I was stuck at my uncle's house. We were at my uncle's house in South B. And COVID was such a phenomenon. I feel like even as a collective, we still haven't progressed from what COVID did, even not just as Kenya, the whole world. So poetry came around that time. I was just in the house, just figuring out writing raps, but I wanted a stage. I felt like I was alone writing these poems in my room, but I felt like I needed a community. I needed to express myself. And so I came across this platform called Kwani Open Mic through a close friend. So Kwani Open Mic it's a very OG platform in Kenya. Stella Kivuti was here.
Right, yeah. Shout out to Stella. She's amazing.
Yeah. And she comes from that generation of Kwani Open Mic. So that Kwani Open Mic platform has given a platform to one of the biggest poets in this country.
There's also another guy who came through here. I forget his name, but I've realized most of the guys who have been affiliated to Kwani or are still affiliated also like rap music.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe it's because of the whole thing for with the words and thing.
Yes. But Kwani as a thing, it was a literature platform.
Right.
Before even it was a poetry platform.
Okay.
Because it was initiated by the late Kenneth Binyavanga Wainaina.
Yeah.
Who was winner of the Kane Prize in 2001.
Yeah.
He actually I think it was Yvonne Odhiambo Award.
Yvonne was also here.
She was also here. She also has the same Kane Award.
Awesome.
And he was also, according to Times magazine, he was one of the most influential people in the world at some point. Yes.
I agree, yeah.
So he started this Kwani literature platform where they used to invite authors from across the region, from Nigeria. At some point, Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie came to the country through that platform.
Yeah.
And then now the Kwani literature platform turned into Kwani Open Mic.
Correct.
And that was from 2013 onwards up to, I think, they don't operate now, but it has been there for a while. So that's where, that was my first platform when it comes to poetry. That was the first time I got to stage. It was Kwani Open Mic.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the guy I was telling you was Irauka. Yeah, shout out to Irauka. He was also here. He literally talked about Kwani as well.
Yes.
Now, before we further this conversation, maybe you can drop a piece for us, one of your favorite pieces, because I know you've got a collection of poems in your blog.
I do.
What's the name of your blog, real quick?
The name of my blog is African Poetry, but currently I'm writing a collection of 500 poems called Gen Z MauMau. There are poems about identity, democracy, and a fearless generation.
All right.
Yes.
Take it away.
Where I'm from, the word Gen Z is used as a political statement. Where I'm from, they call us the digital natives. Born at the dawn of the internet, we are the woke citizens, sleeping under a warm blanket called climate change. We are broken and bored at our sunrise, called political tension. I couldn't sleep last night, and it was due to all the economic insecurities in my country. Our days are not lived. Our love is not conditional. Our laughter is not best. And if they call us digital natives, then that means we must have been born at the dawn of the internet. But most times, the whole wide world just can't seem to connect to us.
Brilliant, dude. What? The digital natives.
Yes.
You know, you've said a lot of truths in that very short poem. Yeah. So, and I'll ask you a few in just a bit. Okay. Yeah, but one of the common ones I've heard is how, you know, Gen Zs seem to be really I don't want to say disturbed, but some of them are loners. Apparently, most of them dread the idea of brokenness. Like, they can't even understand what's going on because maybe it's because of the state of the economy.
Yes.
So they're in a state of apathy, right? Is that right?
We have quite a reputation, if that's what you're asking. But I think, you know, with Gen Z is a mind of state, you know, and some people, you know, maneuvering as a Gen Z in these times, it's quite tough. Even starting from home.
Right.
Okay, you don't even need to get out of the house. Just at home, our parents sort of have these ideas about Gen Zs. You know, like if they have Gen Z children, they think, and maybe it's the way we tend to lead our lives. You know, most of us are question the idea of marriage, or whether they should be in that type of relationship where they can actually bring actual children into this world. Because sometimes we think, you bring these children into this type of economy, how are they going to thrive, really? So it's more about, I think Gen Zs are misunderstood for the most part.
Right. But
we have this constant refusal to accept what is. And there's this quote by, I think it originates from the Hindu community.
Yeah.
And it says, it is no health to be well adjusted in a profoundly sick society.
Wow, brilliant.
I'll say it again. It is no measure of health to be well adjusted in a profoundly sick society. Mm-hmm. And so we know the type of predicament that we have, but we just can't settle for less. And that's why people tend to have conflict with us.
Gen Z pretty much question every facet of life. Yes. Especially, let me speak from the Kenyan context.
Yes.
So you also mentioned how Gen Zs are pretty much very misunderstood. Are you misunderstood?
As myself?
Yeah.
Yes. I would say yes.
Do you feel like that when you engage with your peers, with society, with guys out here? Do you feel like they don't get you?
Sometimes, yes. For the most part, I feel like it. Yeah. Even when writing. Even when writing, you know, you think about when writing, mostly when I'm writing, you think about when I'm performing this piece, how is the audience going to perceive what I was trying to convey?
Yeah.
How are they going to take this subject matter that I was trying to talk about? So yes, sometimes I feel like I'm misunderstood.
There's a brilliant creative, I forget his name, he's very well celebrated. I was just watching his stuff yesterday, and he mentioned how when you're going to put your work out there, whatever form of art, in whatever medium, you really shouldn't care about the audience that much. You know, you should be authentic. You should put it out there as it is. When I ask individuals who are in your space what they think about stuff like that, you know, just having no regard for the audience, they say, you know, Kevin, maybe that's not right. You're supposed to read the room, because you're supposed to basically know the taste of the audience.
Yes.
What's your perception? What's your view of what this man said? Yeah? Because obviously we're living in an age where you're expected to conform.
Okay.
Sort of, right? Otherwise, some people are going to probably cancel you and say, you know, who does he think he is? Yes. All these other things about Keith.
Yes.
So do you feel like it's important to not have regard for the audience when you're putting your work out there?
Well, I think yes and no. It all depends on your motive and what you're trying to achieve. And it also depends on what type of audience you have. It's always good to read your audience and to know what expectations they have so that you can at least give them that. Because an audience is a very important part of even the art space. As artists, we don't share art to ourselves. We also share art with other people.
Yeah.
It's always good to consider, what do these people really want to, or how can I tell whatever I'm telling in a way that can be receptive to them?
Yes, yeah. Brilliant.
But I would say most of the times I tend to find myself in the line of trying to figure out whether I should care or not care for the audience.
Yeah.
I haven't yet figured out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Let's talk about your blog.
Yes.
So what inspired the title Gen Z MauMau? Why MauMau now in this very modern age?
Yes. So I think that topic it reflects the times. I think as when I say Gen Z MauMau, there's some certain emotions that it evokes just by saying those two words in the same tone. I think, like we've talked about the conversation about Gen Z and how we are viewed in our community because of, the way we show up for protest in huge numbers and the way we speak and we don't conform. But also the aspect of MauMau, I think we share a common goal. They might have come from a different generation.
Yeah.
But we share the same goal for our country.
Right.
And the MauMau was this interesting front in our country because when the British East India Company came to our country in 1895.
East African Company?
The British East India. Yeah, that's how they were called. Yeah.
Okay.
So they introduced forced labor and they took our land. And then the locals started to revolt because when they introduced forced labor, you had to pay some taxes and you had to work in that land that was stolen from you. So MauMau was this front that came to resist the British rule in this country. And it's quite interesting because the British government called them terrorists and they called them criminals and anarchists. So it's quite a trend when people stand for truth and for justice. The ruling party tends to categorize them as terrorists or anarchists, but they're really fighting for what is right. So I think Gen Z MauMau, I think it's a very ideal title, or rather it was an ideal title for my work because it reflects the times that we are.
So I get what you're saying, but for the MauMau, it was very, very clear what they were fighting for: land and freedom.
Yes.
What exactly are Gen Zs fighting for? We can even base it off last year's Mandamano. Of course, they were talking about accountability.
Yes.
Yeah, but from your perspective, what exactly? Give me specifics.
I think we've had several types of liberations in this country. Like we've talked about, the MauMau liberated us from the Mzungu rule. That is what MauMau was all about. There was a second liberation which came during the times of Section 2A, and they introduced the multi-party, the whole multi-party idea. And then we had this liberation which introduced the constitution of our country, which we enjoy today. And I think the Gen Zs are also part of now the new liberation,
right.
And we are fighting for economic freedom. I think that is the whole front. We feel there are these elites who are disconnected from reality. They lead certain type of lavish lifestyles, and you have this disparity in terms of huge amounts of unemployment in this country. One in every four Kenyans is unemployed, and there's rampant unemployment in this country. And I think Gen Zs feel like you have the skills and you've gone through the school system, but when you go out there's no opportunity for you to pursue what you want.
I agree.
So it's more of an economic struggle that we're fighting for, all right? Because we already have the basics. We already have all the other basics, covered.
Yeah.
So now it's more about economic empowerment and speaking about against corruption or graft. So yes, I think that is what Gen Z is all about.
Brilliant.
Yes.
So off of the collection of the poems from your blog,
yes.
the Gen Z MauMau,
yes.
Which one was so emotional for you while writing?
So, like I said, Gen Z MauMau is a collection of 500 poems.
Yeah.
I haven't finished them.
Right.
I'm in the middle. I think I'm in the 90th poem.
So let's talk about so far.
I think there's this poem I wrote as a prayer. So it's a poem, part prayer. If I should I do it a little bit?
I mean, yeah, why not?
Or I could do it at the end of the interview.
It depends on you. Okay, if that's what you prefer, it's fine.
Because I think it's sort of it's a poem and a prayer.
All right.
And
So,
it speaks about excuse me, it speaks about pause. Can I take some time?
Yeah, sure.
Are you going to record this?
It is
You're gonna
recording.
edit?
Yeah,
Are you going to edit?
of course.
Okay.
Yeah. So
me just
for the
sit
record,
down.
we're actually live.
Yeah, we're actually live.
Yeah.
Okay. All
All
right.
right. So I know you're trying to compose your words.
Yes.
Take your time.
All right.
Now, Gen Z are often referred to as a fearless generation.
Okay.
Let's pick it up from there.
Yes.
Yeah. And we've seen a lot of things happening, especially when it comes to protests
Okay.
that are associated with the Gen Z. They can be
Yes.
very emotional,
Yes.
you know, and we lost many of Gen Z lives. Yeah, you know, it's interesting. My auntie usually says, Kevin, we're all Gen Z. This is Gen Zote.
Z stands for Zote.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, it's interesting because now, obviously, most Kenyans also feel like they're part of this conversation. It's not just for a generation,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Do you think at this point, due to the actions of most Gen Zs,
Yes.
Kenyans as a collective, do you think we're now fearless and we can stand up to authority when we recognize injustice happening?
Well, there's a lot of work to be done. There's still a lot of education to be done to the masses to help them overcome their fear. There's still a lot of tyranny going on. There's still a lot of neo-colonialism going on. And as we've seen with the protests, police brutality has been very rampant. And I think there's this force of the government trying to impose a feeling of fear to its citizens. But I think for the most part, we're trying to overcome that fear and trying to challenge the status quo by standing up for what is right, irregardless of the police cannons, irregardless of the water cannons, irregardless of the tear gas. We're still confident enough to go out there and fight for our rights. So I think the fear is there. Just like everywhere else, you know, protests have not just happened in our country. Protests have been Gen Z protests especially have been happening all over the world.
Yeah.
From South Asia, we saw in Nepal what happened in Nepal and Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. So it's a communal. It's this collective movement, you know, against tyrannical governments and tyrannical people. Yes.
Brilliant. Yeah, you know, they say we're in a revolutionary space right now.
Yes.
Yeah, but it starts with the mind, right? Like, I like how you put it. Yeah, you know, Kenyans are actually questioning everything. Yeah, and we're living in some really interesting times. With the one, the only Keith Malenga. Keith, you know, I really like your vibe, bro. You're so chill. Yeah, he's a slam poet and a storyteller. We're talking all things Gen Z, MauMau, the new resistance, art, identity, and democracy in Kenya. Remember, guys, you can actually call us on 0719012600 and bounce off this conversation. Stream live as well on www.spicefm.co.ke. Do remember, this is the home of sugar, spice, and everything nice. Now, previously I asked you about some of the emotional pieces that you've written
on
your blog. So far, you're on 90 poems. Your target is 500. Brilliant.
Thank you.
And I know, obviously, okay. I think you had like a brain freeze.
Yes, I did.
Which happens a lot.
Embarrassingly.
No, it's fine. It's cool, bro.
Yes.
Like over here, it's very chill.
Okay.
So, do you wanna say the poem again? Do you wanna drop the piece?
Sure.
Let's go.
So, like I said, it's in form of a prayer.
Okay.
So it'll give prayer vibes. Okay. Dear Lord, I'm grateful. I thank you. Thank you for a mind creature that lives inside my body and mimics the breathing of the Holy Spirit. Lord, I'm grateful for talent. But Lord, what is talent without hard work? Irregardless, I pray for softness when I land these punchlines. I pray that I don't bleed anyone in my audience. Let these poems instead gently touch people of all ages, especially the children. But dear Lord, do not let this become pedophilia, but a poem that will heal you. Lord, I thank you for a mouth that has a tongue tool to solemnly tell the truth and nothing else but the truth, so help me God. Dear Lord, I pray for a voice that has a tone and a token to reconcile our country back together. Dear Lord, I pray for this country and its children. I pray for the president of our nuclear family that has been separated by explosions of emotions. Lord, I pray. I froze again.
It's okay.
I froze again.
I relate with your
energy. But that's the poem. It's very emotional.
Yeah, man.
It's in form of a prayer.
Exactly.
And it's a new poem. That's why I kind of froze.
So you're actually freestyling?
It's actually, I wrote it a couple... No, it's off.
Oh,
it's
okay.
Written.
Okay.
I was trying... It's a very new... It's a very fresh poem. It's still in the works. Yes.
By the way, bro, somebody once said that a real poet, the great ones that have ever been, didn't have to write. They only needed an audience. Sometimes not even an audience. Like they're going to put their hearts on their sleeve and just say it as it is. It's interesting. Before you respond to my question or that statement.
Yes.
When I was speaking with Yvonne Adiambo, she mentioned something very profound, and she was talking about how she asked the late Binyavanga about this whole idea of being authentic. Because sometimes when you write certain stories, they can lead you to dark places. And then it's interesting because Binyavanga responded to her and said, you need to just get the hell out of the way of the story and let it go on. I guess now my question is, bouncing off this statement, this quote about the great poets, and how they really didn't have to write. They just put it out there as it is. It's almost as if they were guided by some sort of, I don't know, some weird inspiration out there, some spirits. And they just kept on going and on, going on and on and on. When I listen to you, you come off as a kind of person that can, I get the feeling that you can also freestyle. Yeah. So what are your thoughts? That's a layered statement.
Yes.
Almost like a question as well.
Okay.
Now the one for the great poets and Binyavanga saying, you need to get the hell out of the way of a story. What are your thoughts about all those
First
things
of all,
that I said?
I'm impressed that I give off freestyling vibes because I really don't freestyle. I tend to write most of my poems and then I try and master them so that I take them to the stage. So I think with the whole inspiration thing, I think in ancient African communities, we were very in touch with our ancestors and our nature and the nature. But when the British came and these British expeditions, they came and they destroyed our sacred our sacredness. They sort of took it away from us. So there's a lot of inspiration when, as a writer, traditionally as an African, you have that through your ancestors. You can channel and you can write through inspiration. But mostly, I tend to write my poems. I don't freestyle. They don't come to me in the moment. I like to just sit down, think about what I want to write, and then write about it. And then take some time to read the poem. Sometimes I'll even edit the poem because I'm not a very perfect writer. I'm still in the works. So I'll edit the poem and then I'll read it again. And then I might share it with a friend or my sister. Just listen to this poem. Tell me how it feels like. How does it make you feel? Does it connect with you? How do you think I should say that? So I'm very open, even with trying to bring other people into my writing process. Yes.
And what about words that take you to dark places? Just like Binyavanga said, you need to get the hell out of the way of a good story.
Yes.
Yeah. Are you cautious about some of your words? Like you don't want to offend certain people. You don't want to talk about taboos, for example. Yeah.
I think the only people I'm not afraid to offend are white people.
Amazing.
Because like I said, my work is mostly about African colonialism and what the British, about the effects of the British Empire in colonial Africa. So I am very vocal, and I don't fear sounding contradictive, or not contradictive, or rather I don't fear confronting subject matters that are uncomfortable to talk about. There's a poem I wrote about the British Museum, about stolen artifacts. And I performed it at the third preliminary of the Grand Slam. So, and then I recall during that performance there was some white guys in the audience, and when I was doing the poem,
Right.
they kind of left.
What? Are you serious?
It caught me by surprise. I was like, yeah, I think I hit something on the nail. So
Yeah.
I'm not ashamed of offending people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you think there is such a thing as an African creative, and then so basically like creatives from different regions of the world?
Yes.
Do you think they differ based on their experiences? A creative is just pretty much a creative. There's no reason to classify them. The reason I'm asking you is when you look at writers and storytellers and artists, basically, especially Kenyans.
Yes.
I feel like some of them are probably limited due to our colonial past. Maybe we have certain traumas that we are still dealing with, and maybe they don't really help in the sense of fully expressing ourselves.
Yes.
Because I've heard some people talk about how they still kind of feel like they have a fear of authority. Maybe that's because of whatever happened in our colonial past. You know the whole generational curse thing. You know what I mean? Like somehow you just you're kind of timid, even as an artist, as an African creative.
Yeah.
And also, what's the other one? I guess some people they really seek validation.
Okay.
Like your work basically just like you don't feel like your work is good enough without some sort of validation.
Okay. So I think to answer your question, I consider myself as an African poet. I try and stick to that lane because, again, I cannot run away from it. From the color of my skin, I am African to the core. And so I'll always claim that in my work. I'll not try and run away from it and also I consider myself a global citizen. As much as I'm a Kenyan citizen, I'm a global citizen, and I share the same empathy I have for what is happening in Sudan and Nigeria and the DRC is the same empathy I have for what is happening in Palestine and Ukraine and Nepal. So I'm connected to them as I'm connected to the world. I don't live with myself. I'm not an island, but I identify as an African poet. My works mostly speak about African issues, and even the types of subject matters that I choose to write about are very particular about my experience as a young Kenyan and as an African. So I don't run away from it. I don't feel ashamed from it. I don't feel like I need some type of validation from anybody, from any type of community or anyone. I just fully express myself authentically as who I am.
Amazing. I like it. Moving forward, do you write to heal? Based on your own life story? Do you write to remember, maybe? Or to provoke certain conversations, the psyche of the nation, maybe when they engage with your work? What are some of the reasons for your writing?
Yeah, I actually, all of them, which you mentioned, I write to heal. Actually, I forgot to mention, Gen Z or MauMau that idea came about to me during last year's protests. And I vividly recall I was at home with my grandparents. My grandfather is 95 years old. My grandmother is 90. So we were sitting with them. Unfortunately, I didn't go for the protest. So I was at home in my upcountry. And we were watching the protest from home. And I recall seeing in Parliament, in Bunge, when they had those dead bodies there. And it got to me, like I cried. I literally broke down. It got to me, and I actually saw it also in my grandparents. Like they could feel the energy in the room. Something was amiss. They could feel the somberness. So I feel we are all in a healing journey, even as a country, as a collective. We are healing from and not just what is happening presently, from colonial times. Sometimes I think about what my grandfather went through.
Exactly. I can imagine.
Probably even from his parents and what they passed down to him and what he passed down to my mom, And so I think we're all on a healing trajectory, and that's how Gen Z MauMau came for me. Actually, Gen Z MauMau for me, it's predominantly it's a healing project. It's a project of self-discovery. That's why I deemed it poems about identity. It's about finding myself, who am I? In this whole hula baloo.
It's interesting how you put it. So when you look at the state of the country. And the trajectory we're headed towards, what really upsets you the most right now?
I think there's a lot of work to be done in terms of educating the masses about the rule of law and the Constitution and what it actually means to be a democracy. I feel we're still most Kenyans are still in that phase in where we put our trust a lot in the government and in these leaders. And I'm not saying like governments are not important, but I feel sometimes I think about COVID-19. Like I said, COVID-19 was it was a very interesting time if you think about it, because I feel like it exposed governments to show that governments they're not actually really in control than how they portray to actually to be. And I think COVID-19 really showed that in a huge magnitude. If you think about even how people used to come together to help each other, governments didn't have a clue what to do during the pandemic. And so I think as Kenyans, we have to come to this realization that this type of glorifying that we give our politicians, that they have to dictate who we vote for or why we vote or how we even think.
Yeah.
I think that is one of the things that we need to work on. So mass education, I think the Constitution should be learned in school, properly learned in school. The Constitution is not just a document for parliamentarians or for the MPs. It's a collective document, and everybody should have the right to know what it says and what it means.
Yeah.
Especially if we want to make better choices in the future in terms of the leaders that we elect, I think that is it's a good place to start.
Absolutely, I agree with you. Civic engagements and education is so important, especially for the younger Kenyans. Do you think people are too dependent on the system? Whatever the system is. Do you think maybe that's not the way it's supposed to be? Because you just mentioned how government really learned a lot about the sense of control during the COVID-19. But right now, do you think we're too dependent post-COVID?
Post-COVID?
Yeah, we're too dependent on the system. The reason I'm asking is every other time, you get into certain quarters, people somehow blame the government for, the state of the communities and the economy in general.
Yes.
Government is supposed to provide such and such, all these other things, right? And then there's a sense of anger, especially if government doesn't live up to its promises.
Yes.
And so do you think it's a good thing to be overly dependent on the system? Is there such a thing as that?
It's not good. It's not good. It's always good to have a sense of, while doing my research, I was doing research about anarchism and what it is about as a theory. So, and I'm going to be very careful about this because I don't want to offend people, but I think anarchism, it's studied in theory. It's not what people, or rather what governments try to push it out to be. We practice every day. We practice anarchism every day. Think about it. When you go to bus station or whatever stage you're going to alight your matatu, you don't need a police officer to stand with you there to organize you. People are naturally organized. People are naturally orderly, And even in the protests, people are naturally nonviolent. They'll organize, but now governments are the ones who come to disrupt the peace, if you think about it. So I think, yes, to answer your question, we overly depend on governments and the systems, and it's high time to rethink so that we have a balance. Not saying the government should disappear. I'm just saying it's good to have a balance, to know when to not over depend on the government, when to be self dependent.
Brilliant. I like that.
Yes.
All right, so let's keep it moving. Still on the whole political angle of this conversation,
Yes.
do you generally feel like the Gen Z understand political power? Yeah, because, there's this talk for, leadership needs to be youthful.
Yes.
The youth the future, it used to be the future belongs to the youth.
Yes.
It's now they say it's the current. This is the era for the youth.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you think they're ready for leadership and power and political power?
It doesn't matter. I think it's going to happen regardless of whether we believe it or not. Because first of all, the law of the land says sovereign power belongs to the people. All power belongs to the people. So whether we believe in it or not, whether we like it or not, the law states that. And I think we're always going to be on the forefront.
Yeah.
We're always going to be on the forefront. And now I think with the social media era, it's so hard for you to get away with things.
Yeah.
It's hard to get if you abduct somebody, tutajua tu.
Right.
If you do something, we will know.
Yeah.
And information spreads so fast nowadays. You can't do anything underwater. People will know, and people will rise.
Yeah, we also just witnessed the death of the Right Honorable Raila Odinga.
Yes.
As a poet, as a thinker, and as a young Kenyan.
Yes.
What did his life mean to you? When you look back, because they talk about him being one of the most important Kenyans of all times.
Yes.
His impact will definitely be felt for generations to come.
Yeah. I think he's a legend in his own right. There's a poem I wrote called Ragwambo. So it plays around with Rambo, the character, the Sylvester Stallone, who's like a soldier who goes to war with like this army of like people, and he's alone. So he symbolizes this like savior of people. Many people regard to him as like a savior, and even after his passing, people still give him that type of reverence. And I think it's good to honor him for the roles that he's played for this country in terms of fighting for what is right, always being there on the forefront to do what is right. Yeah. So yes, I think he's a legend in his own right, and he deserves all the flowers.
Raila kept on talking about canon, taking Kenyans, especially his followers, to this this amazing place called Canaan, this idea of paradise.
Yes.
Do you think Kenyans are ever going to get to this place, this idealistic place called Canaan, I guess? Do you think we're ever going to get there?
It depends. It depends if we want to get there. Our actions are going to determine if we're going to get there or not.
Yeah.
So there's a chance we might.
Yeah.
There's a very high chance we might or might not.
Yeah.
Yes. It all depends on us.
What's the narrative?
We might just end up like, unfortunately, like our neighbor, Tanzania.
Oh, God forbid.
So it depends. The power is in our hands to determine what type of trajectory we want to have as a country.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we're living in a time when, of course, we're witnessing a lot of youth-led movements in Africa. We saw whatever happened in West Africa.
Yes.
We're seeing this whole wave happening in East Africa.
Yes.
What do you think Gen Z are doing right? Yeah.
As with the movements that are happening across?
Yeah. So especially the ones in East Africa.
Yes.
What are they getting right?
Calling people in power into account. Calling them into account. Not letting them get away with corruption. Such issues are the ones that defines the trajectory of a country. Corruption.
Yeah.
And cycles of debt. And debt is not bad, by the way. I'm not saying debt is bad, because the economy of the world thrives on debt. But if debt falls in the hands of the wrong people, then you're in an ending cycle of spending and borrowing. And then I think we, as a generation, we are very aware of we're not scared. We're not scared to speak against bad leadership. We can identify bad leadership and we can call it out.
Yeah.
So I think, yes.
What are they getting wrong?
What are they getting wrong?
Yeah.
Maybe patience.
That's so true, bro.
Maybe patience.
Yeah,
I
maybe
think,
they're between patient.
Yeah. Maybe we probably think things can happen tomorrow. Maybe it will take a little bit longer than we want them to. But I think we're on the right trajectory. And not just in government. I think even in the workspace, employers kind of have a hard time employing Gen Zs.
Apparently,
you know, they say that Gen Zs are entitled.
They soft quit work.
Yeah. But I think
they give up so soon.
Yeah. But I think we are also kind of improving that conversation in the workspace. What is really what is work really? Do you need to work from 8 to 5 for that to be deemed as work? We also have to define what is work versus productivity.
I agree.
And I think COVID-19 also defined that for us as well, because people didn't need to go to their offices to be productive.
Same way I think people shouldn't have to work for 5 days a week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, who says that? You know what I mean? Like, most people actually, most people aren't productive on Fridays, for example. So maybe we shouldn't be going to work on Fridays. Yeah, that's the situation in some countries out here.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on a guy called Casmuel, by the way?
Casmuel, he has a good afro.
Yeah, it's true, yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah. No, his afro is amazing. Yeah, his afro is dope.
I mean, I think he's with ODM right now.
Yeah, he's in Mombasa right now. And, he obviously he's a Gen Z.
Yeah, yes.
Some Kenyans think he's a sellout. They think, this guy, he's just, he had a price on his head. He wasn't really principled. He didn't really stand for what, he made Kenyans think he stood for.
I can't speak for anyone, really. I don't want to speak for him. I don't know what his motives are. I don't know what he stands for.
Yeah.
Yes.
For real, you don't know?
I don't know what he stands for. I really don't know what
he stands for. The whole Gen Z movement. Anyway, so it is what it is.
Well, that, you could say something and not.
Yeah.
Yes. I just don't want to speak about what something that I don't want to speak for somebody.
I agree. Yeah. That was just a by the way.
Yes.
Hey, so as we wrap up this conversation, what are some of the hardest things about being a writer or a poet? What are the challenges that you go through in Kenya?
I think avenues of storytelling. I think we need more avenues of storytelling. And I think, storytelling has evolved over the times. Now we have better ways of telling stories as humans. We read literature. We do research, we do interviews with older generations. We conduct research. We dig for artifacts. And also we look at art. When you go to a museum, you look at art and you know the origin of the stories of your people and your community. So I think better, more platforms of storytelling, I guess. Yeah, better platforms of storytelling. And I think more conversations about how art can influence decision making, even in the national conversation. I feel talking about how art can come through in terms of decision making or law making or such things. Yes.
Yeah, I like how you put it.
Yeah.
Who's your biggest influence?
Biggest influence, man. I could talk about music and poetry.
Okay.
But I think with poetry, there's this generation of poets in the 1960s from East Africa. Jared Angira was he's a good writer from East Africa. And then Taban Loliong, and who else? Let me see. I think as far as slam poetry goes, Mufasa is a big influence.
Where is he from?
He's a Kenyan poet.
Awesome.
Yeah, Mufasa he's one of my big influences. There's this poet from Ghana called King Yo as well. He's a slam poet. Yeah, I think, yeah.
Awesome.
In music, I would say, man, I love hip-hop, man.
Yeah.
I love from Jay-Z, J. Cole.
Awesome.
Those are my guys, man.
Yeah.
Kendrick Lamar. Yes.
So those are the people who are trending on your playlist?
My playlist. Those are my guys.
I can imagine.
The big three.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've heard of the big three.
So those are the big three, isn't it? Yeah?
Yeah, yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
So For folks who are going to read your work,
Yes.
who are going to read your blog,
Yes.
the Gen Z MauMau, what is the one truth you would hope for them to walk away with?
I think first, know who you are, especially if you're young. Do a lot of work to find yourself. All right, don't get carried away in the noise. Don't get carried away in the heated and space. Try and find yourself. Don't lose yourself, and then always stand for what's right. Always speak out against ills in society. Don't conform. Always question the status quo.
I like that. Yeah.
And I think, be authentic.
Yeah.
Just be authentic. Be yourself.
Awesome.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you for having me.
I think you should drop a piece before you leave.
Man. Man.
Yeah, we love to listen to you, bro. So,
Let me see if I have a piece. Do I have any piece left? I think I had those 2 pieces prepared for today.
Fair enough.
And I'm in the creative space when I'm writing. Mostly, I don't have many poems for performing.
Yeah.
And I try not to recycle my old poems. So I try to move with the new, my new wave of poems.
Yeah.
So right now I don't have a lot of poems mastered. I only had those 2 poems because they were in the context of the conversation we had today.
Brilliant.
But if you want to listen to me, you can follow me on social media. I'll always, if I have an event coming up, I'll always have it posted on my socials at Instagram, KenyaWrites_. That is KenyaWrites_. At Facebook, the same, KenyaWrites_. I'm not so active on Twitter. I think
that's about it.
Yeah, that's about it.
Thank you so much for coming through, Keith.
Yeah, thank you.
I really
for
enjoyed the
me.
conversation.
Yeah.
Asante sana.
Thank you for having me.